Alright, I'm gonna be, I would say, cutting the pork loin, but I had some technical issues and cut it without realizing I wasn't recording audio. But I'll go over how I did it and try to show you how I did it. Um, this is a center cut pork loin, I believe. It's about 4 pounds. I chose this because mainly of its size and weight. It has a good thickness to it that I wanted, and it has a good amount of fat. You can always trim it, but it came from the butcher at Meyer, so it's got a pretty even amount of fat that I like. The recipe calls for it to be cut to about half an inch without going all the way through. So you basically want to get this flat. And I already did that, but I'll show you the way I did it anyways. First, after touching it, your hands might be a little bit wet, so I recommend drying them off. They might feel a little sticky. That's better than them actually being wet. I'm going to wipe off my handle because I used it. Wipe down the knife a bit. Mine's not that sharp, but if yours are sharp, you probably want to be careful wiping them off. I like this kind of knife. Not exactly, I think it's a fillet knife. They're meant to be able to bend, as you can see. They're meant to bend like that, so you can really maneuver it how you like. Unlike other knives that they're rigid, they're not supposed to move, and they won't move, or they will break. So this really is good for when you have to do kind of precise cuts. The way I did this is I just went to the side and put it on its side. It went about like a third until like from one edge to like about eyeball half an inch, and I just cut it, and I slowly cut it like probably half an inch to an inch at a time until I got to about that. And now at this point, this side is going to be thicker than this side, and you want it to be about even. Recipe calls for half an inch, but it's kind of preference. The half the inch is to get it nice and thin so it's easy to roll up with stuff inside it. But once I got it to this part, I just started going at this and just kept going like this until it was nice and rolled out. At this point, you could easily pound it out with like a meat mallet, but it's not really necessary. It doesn't need to be that even because it's not going to cook like this. It's going to cook rolled up. But if you want to try to get it even, you can just go in here and do some slits, and it'll flatten it out a bit. You'll be able to push it down a little bit. See, it's kind of like getting thinner. So here is now a little bit thinner. It's going to be odd cuts, but at the end it's all going to be one big thing, so it's not going to be that big of an issue. Then here is pretty still thick for me, so I'm just going to go in here. And here I accidentally cut through a little bit, but that's okay. It's not big. Mistakes will happen. Just continue slicing it. Another good reason is these knives are sharp, so you can easily just glide it across and it will do a nice slit. And you want to go nice and slow. You don't want to do too much without noticing what you're doing. So just go one cut at a time, see how it looks. Go back in, adjust. And if you get little pieces that are like hanging like this, you can just chop them right off. A little piece like that, you're not gonna notice gone in the final meal. But with that, I would say that it's about done. At this point, the next person will do the seasoning and the spinach stuffing and roll it up. But for now, I'm just going to fold it back up because I got to store mine. But that's how you go from a whole pork loin like this to a nice rolled out one like this. It's nice rolled out, it barely fits on my cutting tray. Now the next person will show you how to fill it up and roll it up.